So welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And we're here with Florent.
Yeah, exactly.
From Nuts Publishing. And we're here still at San Diego HistCon. And we just finished playing an upcoming game from Nuts Publishing called Eclair. And I'm probably pronouncing that horrendously, but
don't worry.
What's you going to do?
He didn't say, no, you weren't pronouncing it.
he said, yeah. He's an uncivilized Englishman. He doesn't know how to pronounce French, which is true. So this is volume 3 in the Combat Rations series.
Yes.
Which includes 300 Earth and Water and Port Arthur, both of which we've played. And we've got volume 4 over here as well, which we might talk about. So this is a Second World War kind of operational level game that plays very quickly about the 1940 Blitzkrieg invasion of France.
Exactly.
And let's, just so we've got it out there, the name of the game, where does that come from?
It means Blitzkrieg in French, so lightning war. Guerre being war and éclair being a lightning.
And I liked that earlier you said, we've got so many Blitzkrieg games, let's give it a nice good French name, which was awesome.
Well,
so it was a very asymmetrical style game. It's a little card-driven game where you have a hand of cards that you select, and the decks are different, the volume of the amount of cards you have are different, and it's there's one open objective and one hidden objective out of a pool of 4 that you could get.
Always very much enjoyed that style of game.
And we've played a couple like that, but it's this really tight package, but there's so much to do in it, and you feel really up against it. We were able to play the full game, and even though it was, it's not a massive big game, it feels like a massive big game in the small box and a small time frame. What you've put into this is really, really impressive. So let's kind of talk us through where the game comes from, because I know it comes from a specific designer, and how that came to Nuts and what we're looking for with this.
yeah, well, just like the 2 first games in the series, the designer is Yasushi Nakakuro, so a Japanese designer, the owner of Banzai Games, and the original game has been published in Japanese under the name of The Rise of Blitzkrieg. And then, as you said, I thought, another Blitzkrieg game. Yeah, so it was a great game, but I thought, okay, let's try as just a name, something different. So that's the story of the game, and we loved it. First time we played, it was very clever. So
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that's the hallmark of these games, is there's cleverness in the design. There are a lot of choices.
Yeah.
You have to choose cards. You have to choose where your units go. I've enjoyed all the games that we've played in the series, and they're very interesting. And this one really falls in that same line, for sure.
I'm also a designer, and what impresses me is that Guerre Éclair has almost the same components as 300. But with the same components, it's completely different, and you have really the right feeling of Second World War in France in 1940. Yeah.
You know what? That's so funny that you said that, because I would not have made that connection, but it's so true. Like, they took the same components and made something that's totally different.
Yep.
But this felt like a 1940 Blitzkrieg game.
Yeah.
And it had everything that I would expect in that game, but with the decisions that you're making with the cards that you're playing, where to commit, how much to commit, in the small space with which you have to maybe like think and bluff about where you're trying to go to hide your objective as long as possible. Totally different from 300.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more different. But taking the same stuff in the same package and just like reworking that, it's extremely impressive.
And to create a game that played in 40 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Played in 40 minutes, this small of a footprint, yet I feel like I ate something pretty hearty.
Yes.
And I remember with 300 particularly, we felt the same way with that game. So it's impressive that in a small package you can get that much depth and that much interest.
For me, Yasushi is really a very, very good designer. something that I myself couldn't really not do. I mean, it's I'm really very impressed.
And from everything that we've spoken to with other designers, the input is always designing a big, massive war game with everything in it. Anyone can do that. But making it, stripping everything down to a really small amount of components in a small footprint, but retaining all of the things that make a war game great, that's where the skill is. In distilling everything that's Blitzkrieg into this small package is a wonderful skill, and I think he is a bit of a genius when it comes to the Combat Ration series, which share almost zero mechanics across all of them. But
other than they use the same components.
They happen to, but then like Norway just totally different.
Yep, looks totally different.
Port Arthur, very different.
Yep.
And that's so it's not a series in like a coin series where they were like, hey, here's the same system with different stuff. Totally different, but it's this small tight package, plays in 30, 40, 50 minutes at most, and you get like a really high quality game. And I love what Nuts has done with the production side of it as well, because we couldn't get a hold of those Banzai games. But you guys,
no, it's true.
extremely good production. I love the artwork that's gone into, especially the first 2 volumes. This looks like it's going to be the same. Norway also, I love the front cover. Is that the same as Port Arthur?
It's not the same artist. We always hire someone else.
Okay. It has a similar feel.
Yeah, Ingram is German.
Okay.
For Guerre Éclair, Souza is Polish. And 300, it was Antonio, who was Belgian. And for Port Arthur, Maud was French.
Like that. I love how stylized they are, and they just give you a different feel, both from each other, but also that it's very differentiated from other things in the wargame space. And it just makes it a joy to like have on the shelf and to open and to play with as well. That's something I've loved about your guys' company and taking that extra step with artwork and production and things like that.
Well, we are wargamers, hardcore wargamers, but to make a living out of it, we also make Eurogames. So we take the knowledge from Eurogames into wargames. So also for illustrations, why would a wargame look, ugly or whatever? It can look good.
Yeah.
It can.
And should.
And should. No, but frankly, over the 10, 15 last years, I can see just around us. Just speaking about graphic arts, it has risen so much.
Agreed.
Well, it's almost expected now that the games are going to look as good as they play, and I think that's a good thing. But I think most consumers are willing to pay the extra $5, $10, $15 to get good art.
Well, for us, doing also Eurogames in Europe, the market is so competitive that at least for Eurogames, it's mandatory. There's no question about it. So we're kind of so used to that when we do a war game, it's natural. Yeah. We just do the same process. It's nothing special.
Yeah.
So we played Guerre Éclair, awesome.
And when is this going to come out?
Probably April.
Okay.
April of 25.
Yeah.
Who knows when you're watching this? But we've got Volume 4 over here as well, which is Norway 40. We haven't played this. Can you talk a little bit about what we've got in this?
Yeah, so again, designed by Yasushi. This one is about the campaign of Norway in 1940, so a few months before Guerre Éclair. And the game is like a naval battle, if the German wants to, because he has a choice. It's a programming game. You have 15 ships on each side, and you could stack up to 3 ships together, and of course you program them. But because you have only 15 turns, you have to choose between bringing your stack of ships sorry, I'm getting tired. Area 1 onto the map, or movement, or move your Luftwaffe. Several choices. So you probably won't
like the little planes.
Yeah, exactly. So you probably won't use all your ships, because of course nothing will go according to your plans. The objective of the German player is either to go through the Atlantic Ocean, so all the way north of Norway, with his 3 raiders ship intact, or invade Norway. If he invades Norway, he has to take at least 4 zones out of the 7 cities that are on the map. If he does that, then he will invade more and more inland with the help of the Luftwaffe. But of course, the British and a little bit of French will try to prevent it. So they will try to sink as many ships as they can. If you look at one, it's a prototype, so it's pretty dark and probably doesn't show on a camera. But on one side, you have the hidden ship, so you don't know what it is. On the other side, especially for the German, you have little helmets. And when they invade inland, your ship disappears because you turn it around and you only use the helmet side. And if you have more helmets than the Norwegian garrison, then you occupy the city. If not, you're like fighting, so you can bring in more ships and more helmets in, and they can never go back. They're like, landing troops.
Yeah.
So you have to choose at one point, do I land and kind of lose my ship, but I need it because I only have 3 cities, I need 4 to at least try to make a draw, or I try to sink more British ships because it also brings me victory points. But it's a tough choice, and because it goes down south from Oslo up north to Narvik. Once you only have 15 actions, so once your ship is up to Narvik, well, you need to continue.
You can't get it's too long to bring it back.
Yeah.
How far away is this one from kind of the timeline?
Sorry, but
the plan is to release it at the end of the year, so probably a year from now, November, December, something like that. The game is, as you can see, the artwork is finished. We just need to check the English rules and then do the translation in French and other languages. But yeah, the game is finished.
Anything else kind of on the docket that you want to talk about?
Actually, we can talk about this one. So, the Coldest Winter is the other prototype we have on the show. It's the Russia-Finnish War of 19. It's a coincidence, but it's again 1940, 1939, 1940. But this one is it's like Path of Glory with X's and blocks. A lot of cards,
So here's the
So a number that gives you operation points, and then an event, that can be battle, regular events, just to do the event, a response also, and it is finished. We just are looking for an artist to do the illustrations.
Who's the designer on this one?
The illustrator is Timo, a Finnish designer, first design, but again, when we were offered this project, it was like very clever, because he's Finnish, he knew everything about this war. Every card has a manifest, a little description. So if you want to know everything about this war,
which we do, that's one of the best parts about card-driven games is you get the information and the learning on the cards
exactly.
too.
I agree. So it plays. There are 3 army zones. So in the south, the Russian are very powerful, but on the other side, the Finnish have very strong bunkers, lines. And in the middle, you have a lot of forest, where historically there were a lot of ambushes. And in the north, you can fight, but it's freezing almost all the time. So every time you fight, there's less troops. So you're like, okay, let's go there. Yeah, but every time you move or you fight, you need to check for freezing.
Whoa.
So it's not that good of an idea,
Well, that's very exciting as well. Is there anything else that you want to kind of be able to talk about?
Well, check our website. We got so many projects that it would take too long, but it's it's always a pleasure to show our new games, and have all the feedback from all these good people around us. So yeah, that's great.
Awesome. Well, we're very grateful for you sitting down with us, teaching us Guerre Eclair and being able to play that, and then walking us through some of these other things.
Absolutely.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. I've been Alexander for theplayersaid.com.
And I'm Grant.
And I'm Florent.